Everybody, my name is Eber A. Moraz, and I'm here along with my classmate Domenica Mendez. Together, we are part of the Human Resource Management program here at Sacred Heart. And the class that we're taking right now is Analytics, Metrics, Problem Solving. And tonight, what we're going to be talking about is we're going to be trying to see the value of phone calls made between professors here at Sacred Heart and between departments. So we have a management department, we have marketing and sports management department, along with accounting, information systems, and economics and finance. Myself, I am going to be talking about accounting and information systems, and I'm going to compare that to, can you scroll up a little bit?
Yeah, I was in the wrong.
Yeah, and I'm going to be comparing management and marketing and sports management. I'm also going to be doing a comparison of phone calls made between tenure and non-tenure professors, and we'll see how interesting that will be. Now, for my phone calls made between the two departments, you have my count there is 6, and the mean, as you can see there, 14.33 versus 19.16. We have your standard deviation and your standard error. So the one thing that I'm going to be concerned about is discussing the null hypothesis with the research. So the null hypothesis is the phone calls made between management and marketing department are less or equal to one another. The research hypothesis will be the phone calls made by management to marketing are greater than from the marketing department. What does that mean, everything that I just said? Basically, the null should be less or equal to than the t-value. The research hypothesis is going to be just the opposite, is going to be the t-value is greater than your critical. As you see here, after doing a ANOVA single factor management versus marketing, the phone calls were, we have everything split up, 86 to 115, your average of 14.33 to 19.17. The one thing what I'm concerned about is the F value of 0.33 and the F critical of 4.96. So what does that mean? Like I told you before, the null should be less or equal to than compared to the critical. 0.33 is obviously a lot less than 4.96. So my result was the null hypothesis is accepted because the F value of 0.33 is less than the critical value of 4.96. So therefore, we reject the research hypothesis. Conclusion: the management department made less phone calls than the marketing department. All right, so, and then the percentage is 14.33 to 19.17. Another test that I used was the T-sample. The T-test 2 sample assuming unequal variances. Why? This one right here, unequal variances, is because we're expecting them not to be equal, and we wanted to compare which one was higher. So again, we got the data here, the mean, the variance, observation, hypothesis, mean difference. But the one thing that we're concerned about, again, is the T1 tail and the T critical 1 tail. The T1 tail is 0.29, and the T critical 1 tail ended up at 1.81. So it's less, it's leaning more towards the null. And the result is the null hypothesis is accepted, again, less or equal to, because it's the t-value is 0.29 and is less than the critical value of 1.81. Therefore, we reject our research hypothesis. Conclusion: there is a difference in calls made between management and marketing departments, as it shows that management is significantly higher than marketing department. All right, so now we have the tenure versus non-tenure. Null hypothesis is that the professors made less phone calls or equal to the non-tenure professors. And just the opposite on research hypothesis, the tenure professors' phone calls were greater than or not greater than the non-tenure professor phone calls. Again, we used the single factor ANOVA. We matched up tenure versus non-tenure. We have the count, the sum, the average, the variance. Looks all nice and neat, but we're mainly interested with the F value and the F critical. Again, the F value, 4.75, is in this situation greater than the F critical, 4.32. Therefore, my results are Since the F value of 4.75 is greater than the critical value of 4.32, we reject the null hypothesis and accept the research hypothesis. Conclusion: tenured professors have significantly higher costs than non-tenured professors. 23.22 to 10.29. I guess tenured professors are more comfortable making phone calls. All right, so we tested it a second way. And again, we used the t-test 2 sample, assuming an equal variance. Again, because we don't know, we're assuming that they're not equal. And by that, we have the mean, 23.22 or 10.29, variance, your observation, hypothesis mean difference. And one thing we are concerned about is we need to match up the T1 tail and the T critical 1 tail. With this result, it came out the T1 tail is less than the critical 1 tail, the T critical 1 tail of 1.81. So that right there, we learned tonight that if it's less than or equal to, then we go towards the null. The result, as we predicted, since the T value of 0.05 is less than the critical T value of 1.81, we accept the null hypothesis. Conclusion: tenured professors have significantly higher costs than non-tenured professors. That is my part of the presentation. Thank you very much. I now present to you Dominica Mendez, and then she'll compare the rest of the subjects. Thank you. Sorry.
So, for my part of the project, I took a look at the difference of phone calls between accounting information and economic and finance departments, and then I took a look at male professors versus female professors. And once again, I have the total count.
Sorry.
You just closed it. What'd you just do? Can you pause that? So, as I said, I compared the accounting and information systems department to the economic and finance department, and then male versus female professors in regards to phone calls. So, I have my number count for each group, the sum of phone calls made, the means, the standard of deviation, and the standard of error. So, for the accounting versus economics department, my null hypothesis is the phone calls between accounting information systems and economic finance departments are less than or equal to one another. And for my research hypothesis, I said that the phone calls made by accounting information systems to economic and finance are greater than the calls made from economic and finance to the accounting and information systems department. Like my partner, I did a ANOVA single factor test also, comparing accounting versus economics. So, our sum of phone calls for accounting was 51, economics and finance was 101, with an average mean for accounting and information systems of 10.20, and for economics and finance, 16.83. So what we want to look at here are the F value and the critical F value. So the F value here is 0.41, and the F critical value is 5.2. So what does this mean? With these results, it's saying that the null hypothesis is accepted because the F value of 0.41 is less than the F critical value of 5.2. We accept the null and we reject the research hypothesis. So the conclusion is the accounting information system department made less phone calls than the economic and finance department, with a percentage of 10.2% to 16.83%, which is a good significance there. But to test it again, did a t-test, 2 sample assuming unequal variance. So here we want to take a look at the T value, which is 0.26, to the T critical value, which is 1.89. So because the T value of 0.26 is less than the critical T value of 1.89, this is telling us that we're going to continue to accept our null hypothesis and continue to reject the research hypothesis. And the conclusion is, once again, the accounting and information systems department made significantly less phone calls than the economic and finance department. Now, I also looked at male professors versus female professors in regards to phone calls. So my hypothesis is the male professor phone calls were less than or equal to phone calls made by female professors. And the research hypothesis is the male professor's phone calls were greater than the female professor phone calls. So here, once again, did another ANOVA single factor test. So we took a look at, if you take a look here at the sums, the male professors made 164 calls compared to 189 by the female, with an average mean of 12.62 for the males and 18.90 for the females. So our F value here is 0.99, and our critical F value is 4.32. So this is telling me that because my F value is less than my critical F value, so that we're going to accept the null hypothesis and continue to reject, we're going to reject the research hypothesis. And the conclusion is that female professors had significantly higher calls than male professors, with 12.62 to 18.90. And once again, did a t-test, 2-sample, assuming unequal variances again. Once again, this is comparing the means. So we're going to look at the t value, which is 0.18. And the critical t value with one tail is 1.76. And the results here are, since the t value of 0.18 is less than the critical t value of 1.76, therefore we're going to continue to accept the null hypothesis and reject the research hypothesis. And the conclusion is that the female professors had significantly higher calls than the male professors.